Hello, welcome back. So, I did this for Mabon, and we are continuing this along for Samhain. So, this is the first of a couple rituals that I'm planning to post this year. So, this one is more focused on the myths that I'm currently working with for this time of the year. By no means is this the official way of celebrating this time of the year. It's not founded in anything, and I'm sure the actual heathen Norse Asatru groups will cringe immensely because I'm not following what the books have said. However, I like to be very eclectic in my path, and since I'm a solitary witch, it doesn't really affect anyone. I just wanted to share this ritual in case you wanted to do it as well. Again, this is mostly for us witches who are not part of a specific tradition, but you work with certain gods. As I've mentioned before on my channel, I am working with the Norse gods a lot right now, and so this ritual is in honor of Hel and Baldur. If you don't know that myth, we kind of go through it a little bit in this ritual. Again, this is mostly focused on that. I will have other videos this month of rituals to do that don't really have a whole lot to do with the myth, but this one in particular I wanted to do, so here we go. So you're not going to need a whole lot for this ritual. I haven't gathered my tools yet, so I kind of set up the altar with what I had. So basically what you're going to need is 2 pumpkins, and you're going to be carving a mistletoe in one of them. And honestly, if you try and Google mistletoe pumpkins, it doesn't shockingly come up. But you can find like wood burnings and stuff of, or even just like really a traceable option for your pumpkin of mistletoe. And then you want another one that is carved with a skull. There are plenty. You can find as simple or as complicated as you want. And of course you want those hollowed out and carved and ready to go before your ritual. That will take some time. Plan accordingly. Then you want a black candle and then a bleeding candle. Right around this time you can find the ones like I've got on the screen here of the skull. It's a bleeding candle. They're really gorgeous. You can usually still find them around this time of year, but you want to head to the stores soon. Christmas is definitely taking over in all of the retail stores. So, to begin, set up your altar so that there's a sort of gateway in the middle. On one side you want to put the mistletoe pumpkin. On the other side you want to place the skull pumpkin. It's kind of where I have my pumpkins in the background and the 2 tea light pumpkins, somewhere in that general vicinity. Place the black candle between them, and in front, place the bleeding candle, which you can kind of see here. Because obviously a real pumpkin is going to take up a lot more space, so we're just kind of eyeballing it for right now. Begin by casting your circle and creating sacred space however you would normally do so. Then you are going to light the black candle and say the following. Hel, goddess of the dead, we call to you on this night as the veil is at its thinnest on Samhain night. Join us as we honor the death of Baldur, told in the myths handed down by our ancestors. Welcome to Hel, Queen of the dead, Queen of the night, welcome. Take the mistletoe pumpkin and light the candle within it. And then say the following. Across the lands, across the seas, and the skies, Frigg, goddess of the hearth, goddess of the home, goddess of magic, she pleaded with all to protect her son, Baldur. All agreed, except one. Mistletoe. In our lives, we often forget how the smallest details can cause the biggest ripple in our lives. Like Frigg, we have all overlooked something, and it came to cause the biggest heartache. May we learn to never overlook or ignore even the smallest of details. Light the skull pumpkin and say the following. Frigg did not ask Mistletoe to spare her son, and Baldur, god of light and happiness, was killed. Hel could not be swayed, no matter the pleas from all who attended. Her role is too important. Death cannot be avoided. Death comes without warning. Despite all efforts, not even a god can escape their fated death. We all shall know the heartbreak felt by Frigg and all the gods when Baldur died. We have, or will at some point, beg everything and everyone to not take our loved one. May we learn from Baldur that death is a part of life. We must walk with grace when we are fated to pass through the veil and join Hel on the other side. Then you're going to light the bleeding candle and say the following. And so Baldur left those he loved behind, and walked with Hel into her icy hall. What awaits beyond the chill and cold, guarded by an intimidating wolf, only the dead and their queen shall know. It is during Samhain when we contemplate what happens when we too shall die. Whether we reflect on our recent ancestors who have passed, or our own eventual death, Hel guides us as she guided Baldur. She has guided our ancestors of blood and chosen families for centuries, and one day she too will come to us and take us with her to her icy gates. As Baldur did not shy away, neither shall we when she comes to collect us. On this night we reflect on what this lesson may entail for us. Then you're going to take this time to contemplate death as the bleeding candle burns. Journal about it, discuss it with your coven members, talk openly with your guides. Here are a few suggestions of topics that you might want to consider. What does the afterlife look like to you? Is it an eternal summer? Is it the pearly gates? Do you hope only for Valhalla? What will happen if hell greets you instead of Odin or Freya? What are your beliefs for the soul after death? Have you made all necessary arrangements for your death, such as a will, written wishes for your body once you're gone, a request for your items left behind? Have you communed with spirits or ancestors from across the veil? If so, how was that possible? Do you believe in reincarnation? And lastly, have you considered what will be done to your body as you're dying and after you have passed? I mentioned this recently in a book that I had reviewed for the Pagan Book of Living and Dying. There's a huge focus on being the death doula. Do you want something like that? Are you perfectly content for your family just to be around you? Do you have any wishes of like music to be played or scents to be burned? If at all possible, sometimes we don't have the luxury of knowing and having time to prepare. And also, what do you want done when you actually do pass? Do you want your family to keep you at home? Are you okay going to a funeral home to be prepared? Start to consider these things and then write them down, because obviously this is good information to have somewhere for your family to have. When you're ready, turn your attention back to your altar and say the following. Though sadness and grief enveloped the gods, they teach us that life must go on after death. The land will become cold and barren, a brief reminder of hell's icy gates. For it seems as if even the sun isn't enough to fight off the chill that Baldur's death has cast. It matters not that his return will come, for the myths have told he shall be back for the days of Ragnarok. The gods are grieving, and it seems as if the land is too. The god of light and happiness has left, hell's domain reigns ever through. During Samhain, we see the world around us begin to die. The frosts come in, and soon the snows. Where once was vibrant flowers and lush greens, now dead twigs and leaves. The land reminds us that death is all around. It is during this time that we turn within and seek comfort from our homes and share good memories with our loved ones. Now is the time to give an offering to Hel and to Baldur. Personally, I like to use whiskey, and specifically at this time of the year, Crown, the brand, makes an apple flavor. And I feel like that's just appropriate for this time of the year. Apples are really popular for Halloween, and so apple whiskey sounds fantastic. You could also use a drink sacred to your ancestors. For example, I have a lot of family that they love to drink Bud Light, so I might include that as an offering if I wanted. I mentioned this in another video that for a few years, I'll be giving an offering of wine, and we'll be enjoying it with our ancestors from an ancestor who made the wine, to possibly pour a little bit of that. If you want a non-alcoholic option, of course you can make an apple cider. They do also have sparkling ciders that you can buy at the store. Once in a while you can find a pumpkin flavor one, but more often than not it's going to be like apple or cranberry. Regardless, when you find your offering, say the following. We say our goodbyes to the god of light and happiness. Baldur, we await your return, and give this in hopes it reaches you beyond the veil. Hail and farewell to Baldur, until we meet again. We say our goodbyes to the goddess of the dead. Hel, we are grateful you guide all souls, and show compassion while enforcing the rules of life. Hail and farewell to Hel, until we meet again. Extinguish your candles and close your circle or sacred space however you normally do so. So, like I said, this is more of a myth-based ritual. I haven't really done a lot of these in the past. I did a little bit when I was very first starting, and of course they were very Wiccan-based. And now I am making the Wheel of the Year my own. This is definitely not what anybody else is doing, I don't think. I haven't really researched what the different organizations for the Norse gods do at this time of the year. I don't know if this is a popular one or if it's just little old me doing this. But since I'm a solitary witch, I don't really want to follow the specific tradition of Norse paganism. I don't really mind. I'm just working with these gods and making a Wheel of the Year that's for me. I don't think the gods really mind being honored in different kinds of ways. Everyone does things a little different, a little unique just to them. And hopefully this gave you some ideas whether you want to do this one or a different one from this pantheon, or a different one entirely. This is just one way to honor this time of the year. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some ideas. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post every single day. Thank you to my patrons. I will have their names here on the screen. If you would like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. And until tomorrow, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.